The first round of the NFL playoff games just wrapped up, and we've learned a few things. Starting with the Texans-Chargers game, who's got it better than us? Jim Harbaugh? Literally every other team that won.
Who could possibly have it better than us?
While Justin Herbert has avoided the social media quarterback allegations, it seems to be difficult to turn around the sells in the playoff allegations. Truthfully, I can't connect every single one of these interceptions as Justin Herbert's fault, but considering he threw more interceptions in this one game than he did the rest of the regular season, I think this is karma from the football gods on Jim Harbaugh's end for the cheating scandal at Michigan a few years ago. Hopefully, Herbert's performance in this game cuts down some of the sexual tension between Harbaugh and Herbert during media pressers.
You're right up next to watching, where you can feel the way he's bigger, taller, every kind of sense, smart, incredible the way he picks things up, masters things.
Just kiss already. The Texans showed in this game that their defense is no joke, locking up every single Chargers receiver except for Ladarius McConkey. Obviously, they didn't prepare for Lad McConkey, they just assumed he was one of the coach's sons who was working as a water boy on the sideline. Despite an awesome defensive performance, it felt throughout this game that the Texans offense wanted the Chargers to win just as much as this chick. I wonder how she's doing right about now. I mean, you obviously can't be a very mentally stable person if you're a fully fledged Chargers fan, especially one with hope and belief and faith. I would assume she was already teetering on the verge of mental insanity, but this loss here will likely send her spiraling along with the 7 other Charger fans in the world. Overall, I thought the Texans came out swinging and proved that their defense, while having a lot of issues throughout the year, is still one of the top defenses in the playoffs. If they can get the ball rolling a little bit more on offense with CJ Stroud and Nico Collins and everything and be more consistent there, they might be able to take the Chiefs head on. Moving on to the Ravens-Steelers game, I find it impressive that the Steelers beat allegations of their own. Everyone knew the Steelers as the team that went 9-8, would barely sneak into the playoffs just to get dominated in the first round by a much superior team, but instead, the Steelers went 10-7. And then got dominated in the first round of the playoffs by a much superior team. Side note, what's up with Steelers receivers being total weirdos with a lot of talent? First, AB, don't need to add anything else there. And then Juju and Chase Claypool, who were determined to make TikTok dancing in the NFL a cool thing. George Pickens, who's been in more unasked for fights than Jake Paul. And now Deontay Johnson, who's recently been released from the Texans, who are in the middle of the playoffs. This guy is such a locker room cancer that even the Panthers didn't want him. Then he goes to the Ravens, another playoff team where he's gone after only a few weeks. And then he gets picked up by the Texans, who are, again, in the middle of a playoff run, down 2 starting receivers, and they ended up cutting him this week. Something's going on there. This guy's getting passed around more than your mom. Oh! I couldn't think of anything original that hasn't already been said in comment sections, so I went with the classic unoriginal. Everyone's mother. Anyways, the Ravens dominated the Steelers in the first half. The Steelers looked half dead and like they wanted to be there less than I wanted to finish this game. But the second half, they put in enough effort to hang around for a bit just to ultimately lose, which is pretty indicative of everything Steelers have been for most of Mike Tomlin's tenure. What do you want me to say about the Ravens? Lamar is good at football, Derrick Henry made funny faces while stiff-arming people into the dirt, and Brandon Stevens is embarrassingly bad, blah, 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 moving on. The Broncos' most explosive play against the Bills in their wild card round came from punter Riley Dixon throwing a dart on a fake punt during 4th down. They should have considered moving him to starting quarterback too, because Bo Nix had no bag in this game whatsoever. That line I just used could have been for basically any position on the field because the Broncos played horribly through and through. While it's still impressive the turnaround Bo and especially Sean Payton have had, I was expecting a little bit more in this game. Yes, the Bills are fantastic, but they do have weaknesses, and his name is Joe Milton. Should have at least just invited him to the game just to sit up in the stands. I'm sure Joe Milton's aura is enough to strike the fear of God into the Bills sideline. I don't have much to say about this game. The 2 seed dominated the rookie QB led 7 seed. I'm just excited for the Ravens-Bills matchup. Which QB gets to lose to Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship again? It's gonna be a good one. Moving to the NFC, the Rams-Vikings game pissed me off the most. Not because I'm a Vikings fan, but because I had a gut feeling this would happen, yet still picked the Vikings to win. The Rams were just more determined, and people forget that Kevin O'Connell didn't cleanse himself of anger before fighting McVay. Jedi. Sorry, I got this mixed up with Anakin versus Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. The whole master versus student thing keeps coming to mind. The Rams got off to a hot start with Stafford diming up his receiving core and their defense all of a sudden turning into the 2015 Denver Broncos. Sam Darnold got sacked 9 times, giving him flashbacks of his tenure on the Jets. I'm actually surprised getting sacked this much affected Sam Darnold. I mean, 9 sacks is honestly nothing for a Jets quarterback. That's usually what the sack number is in the first quarter of a Jets game. It honestly looked like Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts out there. Sam Darnold in the last 2 weeks has gone from being a $50 million quarterback that the Vikings must bring back to probably the Raiders starting quarterback next season, just in a 2-week span. The Buccaneers-Commanders game was the most evenly matched game of the entire playoffs so far. While neither team seemingly has the horses to make it much further, it looked like the horses that each team had was about on par with each other's horse, if that makes sense. Another gutsy win from Jaden Daniels in a huge moment. I don't even have anything silly to say about this game. It was damn good, and Commanders fans deserve this after all they've been through. It must be so nice finding an athletic, smart, talented quarterback, putting up a strong Rookie of the Year campaign that makes it to the playoffs in his first year. Nothing could possibly go wrong. As for the Buccaneers, I hope there's enough alcohol in this world to help them forget about that Baker Mayfield fumble at the end of the game, although I'm sure that if there is enough alcohol to do that, the good people of Tampa Bay will surely find it. As I kind of alluded to earlier, I would recommend if you only get to watch one game from this wild card on a replay or whatever, watch this one. They may not have one of the best teams in the league, but these two were perfectly matched up together. I think this was overall the best game I've seen in the playoffs. And the last game of the wild card, Eagles and Packers. We've been saying as long as Love has been relevant that he has hybrid traits of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. The other night, we saw the traits of Brett Favre, but like the bad ones. Playing the Eagles in your first game of the playoffs is tough, and while it was mainly close throughout, the Packers just couldn't stop getting in their own way. Packers also ended up getting some of their starters injured in this game. On the plus side, they should have plenty of time to recover now that the season's over. I hope that's a plus for Packers fans. The Eagles look seemingly unstoppable. Stacked roster, Kellen Moore handling the offense, Vic Fangio handling the defense, Nick Sirianni handling annoying fans. It's truly a trifecta of the ages. While I could sit here and make predictions going into the next round, what I think is going to happen, I think it's pretty easy for me to just say, I think all the teams that should win are going to win. They just feel a lot better. They feel like a different level. The Chiefs over the Texans, the Lions over the Commanders, the Eagles over the Rams, and the only one that is going to be close in a toss-up, and this maybe people won't agree with, I'm taking the Ravens over the Bills, so do what you will with that information. But yeah, that's it. Bye.